Welcome everyone to the Nerd Nook. I'm your host, Evan Teague, with like always is Noah Bailey. So, we have a ton to cover today. First, we're going to be doing our series review of Ahsoka on Disney Plus. That wrapped up last week. And what are your overall thoughts about the show?
So, again, similar to a lot of other Star Wars things, I think there are moments that I'm like, this is exactly what Star Wars is about.
Mm-hmm.
And then there are also moments where I'm like, really? And it's
Mm-hmm.
hard because you want to be like, I really liked it or I kind of didn't. But it's like, it really depends on which parts we're talking about because there are certain characters I think are awesome. There
Mm-hmm.
are moments that I'm like, this is amazing. This is great. And then there are things that are like, it kind of took me out of it. Not gonna lie. So
Right.
it's hard, especially like as we're kind of going, as you see it as a whole. You kind of look back and you're like, okay, what episodes actually mattered? Which ones were like, why are we still here?
Mm-hmm.
And which ones were like, yeah, that's Star Wars,
Yes. My thoughts are extremely complicated because
right?
I did I did like many aspects of the show. We'll get more into specifics later, but I feel like this show it's called Ahsoka, yet
Yes,
it literally just is Rebel season 5.
100%
And as someone who didn't even really
with the
watch Rebels, so I'm not invested in those characters, but I still know enough about them to get it. I liked Sabine fine enough, but I didn't feel like I don't know, she didn't really like carry the scenes she was in. I liked Ezra fine enough, but I liked Ahsoka more, and I liked the new elements that were in the show. I really liked those two Dark Jedi a lot.
yes.
I liked Morgan. I liked her little. I kind of wish she was just the main villain of the show. Like, not that I don't think Thrawn should be involved in this greater, Dave Filoni universe at all, but like I feel like because they were gunning towards, like, they were essentially tunnel vision into this is Rebel season 5, it kind of didn't feel like Ahsoka's show. Like, it essentially ended up being less of an Ahsoka show than Obi-Wan was an Obi-Wan show.
I mean, that's kind of what I mean when I say like kind of more the same, because like the same thing with like Boba Fett. It's like your
Mm-hmm.
name's in the title, but are we really watching you? And like
Yeah.
kind of the same with Obi-Wan. And now here, like, it's a common theme we're having with these Star Wars shows. They're not
Mm-hmm.
really their titles are kind of
Right.
misleading.
Like, I like Bo-Katan, but I'm here for Din Djarin. Like, yes, you are a Mandalorian, but like I like him more. I want to see more of
Yeah.
him doing stuff with Grogu, but that's we he got caught up in a bigger plot, and it's just not as interesting. Obi-Wan, yeah, like I liked Reva fine enough. I liked the stuff that Darth Vader was up to, but just I liked Leia, but I wanted Obi-Wan.
That's what I'm saying. Like what the main character is not lead. It doesn't feel like they're leading with screen time. Like they
Yeah.
probably are if you break it down, but it's not by enough that it feels like it's their show.
Yeah, like there was
Because
one
they're
episode in particular that was Ahsoka's episode with like the whole
yes,
whatever World Between Worlds nonsense that was introduced in
which
Rebels.
was
Like
the best episode.
it was, yeah.
Which is kind of like, yeah, this is what we want. Just make more of this. And then like the next episode, there's like literally zero Ahsoka, and it's just kind of like,
Yeah.
all right, like that's a choice, but
And again, I really, really liked Balin and the I can't remember his
I think it's Shin. I think was her
Shin,
name,
something like that. Yeah,
something like
I
that.
really
They
liked
were
those two.
great.
Yes, I really interested. It's unfortunate that the actor that played Balin died.
Ray Stevenson.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but like, either if they recast or do something, I'm really interested to see where his character goes from here.
Yeah. I heard on Reddit they were like, if we don't get like a Balin Tales of the Jedi thing, we
Hmm.
riot. Because like
Hmm.
that seems like the perfect place to put something.
Yeah, that's a good
You know what I
point.
mean?
Like, just
Because there's so much you can explore there.
I will say it was very funny them being like, "Oh yeah, Balin, he disappeared towards the end of the Clone Wars." I'm like, "Huh? I
Like,
wonder why."
right? Like it was kind of like so, like
Or
everybody else.
right?
Like, yeah, like that's a pretty common statement, but the part of me is like, you know what happened, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
did we not tell him? Did you not tell him? Like, Ahsoka, you not tell him about the whole pew pew? No, I
No,
mean,
okay.
it's just all right. Hey, me,
Whatever.
but yeah, I thought that was really cool. Also, I like random tidbit, but like I really liked how they were able to figure out who he was by looking at his lightsaber because that makes total sense. Like
Mhm.
that's not one of those like random pull out of left field. Oh, I have your backstory, but no, it's like no, he's built all the lightsabers. Of course, he
Yes.
knows who it is. That makes total sense.
Hmm. So it's interesting because the elements that are holdovers from this animated show, I didn't really watch a lot of, mostly because the lightsabers were thin and the character designs I didn't like. But like, because all the stuff that's a holdover from that animated show, now in live action, because I didn't love all of that stuff as much as I wanted to, but I did really like the new stuff they added. It kind of made the old stuff not even less interesting because I wanted more new stuff because clearly that was working for me. Instead, and not that I dislike Sabine, but I wanted to see Ahsoka interact more with just
Yeah,
how she's dealing with what's going on right now. I wanted to see more of her and not just you know just her being a mentor to this other character. I don't know.
yeah,
It's
and
weird.
I guess the thing that was hard about that too was just kind of like yeah, it took us out of the show because again, the show felt very like okay, this is Star Wars Rebels season 5. Like there was no like, it didn't really feel. It only felt like Ahsoka's show for the first maybe 10 minutes,
Hmm.
and then as soon as like all the Rebels characters get like, because at first I thought they were just cameos or oh hey look we get to see everybody in live action. I was like no, the show's about them.
Hmm.
Like the show's kind of about Ahsoka, but not really because
Yes.
Ahsoka doesn't really learn anything.
Yes. So another kind of major issue with the show is if you go into it either not watching Rebels or not knowing everything about Rebels, there's going to be a lot of talk about Ezra and Thrawn and a bunch of characters and events that happened that you know nothing about, but the show kind of
Hmm.
assumes you have seen it or know about it.
Yeah.
So essentially, the entire thing is building up to Thrawn's return, and you almost feel like you're left out of the conversation if you don't know who Thrawn is already.
Right.
And even though there are countless movies and shows and whatever where the villain is introduced within the season or within the movie and they deal with them within that one thing, because you go in already feeling like you should know who it is, like you should know about him already, you should already know, but because the audience doesn't necessarily know who it is, almost like you have to like catch up. I feel like you're behind the characters doing stuff, and it just felt like a little bit of tonal dissonance with that.
Yeah. And the thing about it too, for me, is kind of like they a lot kind of like you said, a lot of times and other things when you don't necessarily know a character, the show will kind of have an introduction esque thing for them. Maybe not a long thing, but
Mm.
here it kind of just felt like here's Thrawn. He's smart. Like that was kind of just that's it. That's all you
Yeah,
need to know. And like, granted, yes, if you've done the homework, like, yeah, you understand what this guy's
sure.
capable of. But at the same time, it's like it's hard because like you can't expect like not everybody watched Star Wars Rebels, and like I know the same thing can be said about Clone Wars, and you know it's the same thing with like, oh, you didn't watch Secret Invasion, then you don't know about but about the Marvels
Mm.
or what, you know, all these different things that connect. But at the same
Right.
time, it's like you should still give enough of a like in the episode or in the show to be like, okay, this guy's not to be messed
Yes,
with.
I think just one scene that is a flashback to the moment where Ezra takes Thrawn out to wherever he goes with the space probe.
Mm-hmm.
Just that one flashback moment, establishing Ezra, establishing Thrawn as a character, establishing what happened, where they went. At some point during episode 1 or 2, and then you can go from there. I think that would
Yeah,
have been fine, but
they could have.
because
Yeah,
that happened in an animated show, and they assumed you already seen that, they felt, oh, we can't recreate it in live action, I guess.
But they
But
totally could,
they
though. I
probably should
mean,
have.
like, I mean, because my thing is, like, especially, like, in the earlier, like, they could have done that in, like, the first or second episode. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it could have been one of those things where obviously, for example, like how in Avatar, when they do the whole like explaining Zuko's backstory
Mm-hmm.
and explaining Aang's backstory thing, like obviously the person telling the story is telling it to someone who knows less about it, but
Mm.
it's also an obvious like, hey, audience,
Yeah.
just so you know,
Oh
this
yeah.
kind of thing. I know sometimes that's kind of on the nose, but at the same time, I think this would be a good time for it because it was probably needed. So it could have been like,
Dave
you
Filoni
know,
wrote for Avatar. I keep
yeah,
forgetting that. Huh.
yeah, good people are in good things.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just kind of like, because like Dan Povenmire was on like Family Guy and also, it's like all these things that are good, like, usually
Mm-hmm.
they're from other good things.
There
That's just
is
kind of how
a
life goes sometimes.
giant, like spreadsheet of like, is it Adventure Time? It's either Adventure Time or Chowder or like or some, I think it's Chowder actually. That like every single creator of every show you ever loved started with Chowder. Pendleton Ward was in Chowder. Charles Greenblatt was in Chowder. Rebecca Sugar, I think, started with either like somewhere up the chain. Like these people who made Steven Universe, Avatar, Adventure Time, Steven Universe, Flapjack. Like every single person that worked on Chowder also worked on Flapjack, Infinity Train, Owl House, Gravity Falls. Everyone worked on Chowder.
Which makes sense because again, like Chowder is like, I mean, it's not really like a plot driven show, but it's a funny show. Like it's
Yes.
good. So it's like, yeah, like everybody, it's like, it's kind of, that's just kind of how things work a lot of the time, whether it's in like
Mm-hmm.
sports with coaching or like, like shows and writers and movies and stuff. It's like usually like, yeah, people that kind of learn a certain way, kind of, they just get it
Mm-hmm.
and then they can use that and make their own thing. And that thing also, because
Yeah.
you even watch shows, you're like, man, this has the same energy as that. It's like, well, I wonder why. Then you
Yeah.
look it up and, oh, no wonder I love this show. Because, I mean, that's,
Mm-hmm.
and that's really, I mean, honestly, I've used that a couple times to like get another show because it's just like, oh, yeah, this person worked on da 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 da. So I'll
Yeah.
like this. And like,
Okay.
yeah, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, one of those scenes just to kind of like fill the audience in. Because again, I don't think most people saw Rebels going in, and I know it's technically required watching, but
Mm-hmm.
like
You could even do a
people aren't.
thing where like Sabine like had a nightmare, and like in that nightmare she was like
Ooh,
reliving what happened or something.
see, that would have like she falls asleep while making the map and has a nightmare. Dude,
Yeah.
that would have been perfect.
Huh. Yeah.
Yeah. Who says dream sequences are overused in Star Wars? But no, I think that would have been a perfect time to do that because again, like you get the flashback, you understand, and you don't have to be like this is who this person is. You kind of just get it
Mm-hmm.
more or less, the gist, all you need. And I think another thing about this show is like it's 8 episodes, but it feels like it could have been 4 based on the story they told. And
Kinda.
although I don't want it to be 4, I feel like they could have. I feel like a lot of the time that was used was not used, I guess, productively because it was kind of just like I feel like a lot of it we were just kind of sitting around.
Kinda. Like some action sequence lasted maybe a little too long. Like I feel like a lot of things, a lot of time could have been cut down by with cutting out just a lot of Star Wars references. There were a lot of
Mm-hmm.
moments that were just like, here's a thing that you know from Star Wars. C-3PO is going to show up and do a thing. Like,
Yes.
not that I don't want to see him, but do we need him right now?
That was like that was a very like, and that was a long like that was a whole opening. That was a couple
Mm-hmm.
minutes. That was a whole opening, and also the clearly evil councilman guy who were just like, okay, are we gonna just like, I don't know, man. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that like. I know that's probably still up in the air what they're planning to do, but I'm just kind of like, are we really doing the like? I'm clearly a bad guy, but nobody except the main character and the audience can tell thing.
I do
Like,
kind of like how this and the Mandalorian are showing just how dysfunctional the New Republic actually is. Because
right?
clearly, if you allowed the New Order to rise, the First Order to rise and do whatever they did to get to the point where the Force Awakens can happen, clearly a lot of systemic issues happened over that 30-year period to cause it, and showing that early, I think, is good. It is to a bit of a comical degree, but still, it is. It's. I think it's necessary to show that.
Yeah, I'm like that whole thing where they're like, oh yeah, they're decommissioning the Star Destroyer, and I'm like, oh yeah, we're all clearly not evil, but
Mm-hmm.
like, oh what?
What?
No way! Who could have seen that except everyone? But
uh,
yeah. Okay, so here's one of the big things.
mm-hmm.
How did you feel about Sabine getting like kind of the Force at the end for some
I'm
reason?
fine with it.
Like,
it. I
like
mean, it feels like so. So she has been essentially, knowledgeable of the Force through Ezra, through Ahsoka, through Kane,
mhm.
whatever his name is. So she had been around before she knew its existence. She, at least felt like she was Force sensitive for a long while. She was never really able to access it. And then in a moment of, of struggle, like Luke did in the Yeti lair, she
Mhm.
got it and saved herself. I think that's
Right.
fair.
Like, see, that part I'm okay with, but see, the part I'm kind of wild is with, like, okay, hey, I just figured out the Force 5 seconds ago. Let me Force push you and possibly not, like, kill you. Like, that's where
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I don't know if you're ready for that, fam. Like, that does not seem like a beginner move. I mean, you
Mm.
just got the Force pull, like, 2 seconds ago.
Eh,
So it was
well, you
like,
can
and I
pull,
know
you
it's
can
for a
push. You know.
like I know, like I guess my thing was like it's because a big again I wasn't never the biggest Rebels guy, but a
Mm,
big thing of Rebels was she was the Jedi with no Force. Basically, that was
right.
her whole thing, which is like I don't know, kind of cool because she's a Mandalorian, etc. But like
Mm-hmm.
it was just kind of like I understand that you kind of want to show progression and you can do it, but it was also kind of like that seems like a lot for something you just now in this exact moment figured out because that feels like something you got to practice.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a difference between pulling a stick from 5 feet away versus my best friend across a ridiculous vat of potential death. But
Yeah.
eh,
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It does. It did seem a little fast, but it's also not exactly unnecessary to assume. Once you get down this basic thing of pulling, you can also figure out how to push. It's
yeah, I
it.
guess so.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was just one part because I was just kind of like, oh man, couldn't be me. Like
Mm.
I'm not risking
Yeah.
my best friend's life that I just found after years.
Mm-hmm.
All right, bro. Hey, did you find Ezra? Yeah.
Yeah.
What happened?
Fell.
He fell. Like you know what I mean?
uh-huh.
Like yeah, like
Yeah.
that would be kind of like I don't know. That's a lot,
I
but
will say, I think the choreography overall throughout this entire series was
yes,
pretty good overall. Like, the lightsaber combat felt very visceral,
yes,
very just good. Especially whenever Balin was fighting. Oh, so good. Still in
it was
control, just very strong.
yeah. He had that like strong like knight samurai
Mm-hmm.
kind of like
Yeah,
strong
to the
base
point where
going.
Ahsoka also had to hold it with two hands. Because if you hold it with one, it would break
Right, it
her.
would
So
probably come back at her or
yeah,
something.
I will say, as cool as this sequence was, I kind of feel like the scene, the last episode where they're being sworn by all those stormtroopers, they kill a bunch and then they get revived as zombies.
Yeah.
As cool as the scene was, I feel like once they realized they were zombies, you could get away with a, some dismemberment considering they're no longer alive anymore. I feel like the ratings would allow a little more considering they're zombies now.
Yes, but it's also like I guess that's hard to do because there's also like, well, it is still. I mean, there's still. I know there's zombies, but like, I mean, in Star Wars, we haven't like the dismemberment. It's like a droid only thing because like
Well, no,
at least
Obi-Wan cuts off a guy's arm in
okay,
the
that
first
is true. That did
first
that
one.
is true. That did happen. Yeah, I guess you got a point there.
and, and like
Maybe
my reasoning for this is I know it's a completely different thing in a different medium, but in the 2012 Ninja Turtles show, which is very good actually.
Hmm.
The CG one from the from
Hmm.
2012. In like
Good theme music too.
yes, the first time they fight the Foot Clan, they're fighting them, and they just assume they're they're ninjas, and then it's revealed towards the end of the episode that they're actually a bunch of robots. And then as soon as they realize they're robots, they just go ham and just like like literally ripping them apart, cutting them to shreds, just going ham with it. And every single time it's like they're fighting robots, they go, or even aliens. It's super brutal.
Hmm.
When it's people, they gotta be a little more PG about it.
Which is fair, because like you gotta remember, two out of three, four of them do have like very lethal weapons.
Yes.
So like, you probably like I've always thought about that. I'm like, how do you like fight with a sword not lethally? Because like pretty much anything is gonna like potentially be
The way they
lethal.
do it is, at least in the newer Ninja Turtles movie, which again, very good. You should see it if you haven't seen it. If whenever Leonardo was just swinging his sword, it's basically like a baseball bat. It just kind of hits. It's whatever. Um, but like, I just I just remember, all the scenes from Clone Wars where Anakin, Ahsoka, and Obi-Wan or whoever just like running through swarms of droids, just cutting left and
Oh
right.
yeah.
And I would have loved to see a moment like that in live action against just cannon fodder. And they
They kind of
had
just
the
don't.
opportunity,
Yeah.
and they just kind of didn't. They retreated instead. When I
That
feel
would
you
have been
could have
sick.
gone in there and actually
Yeah, and
massacred
also
them.
in Clone Wars, there's not just droid. Like they there's been some people cutting up too, because
Yeah.
there's that one scene where Death Watch where Ahsoka just like
Oh, just
four decapitations. Like it was just like, oh
right.
my god, like so cool, but
Good thing Bo
wow.
Katan wasn't in that circle.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like, I could have easily been you. I'm like, yo,
Uh,
that was brutal.
but they had helmets
But
on, so they're not actually people. I don't know. The censor didn't catch it, I guess. I feel like, I don't know. There were a lot of scenes like that where I just feel like just a little bit more could have been done to make it just feel bigger than it was. And it just, I don't know. I just feel like just a couple of things were potentially really cool, and some things were, but other things just felt like a little bit of a missed opportunity here and there that just made me feel like, I don't know, I just wanted a little more from what they were going for.
yeah, I
Yeah.
guess that's fair because like I guess they were trying to kind of like just take in the moment of they're like zombie things, which is still kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Which I should have seen coming because the whole like the like the whole Dathomir witch thing. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I've seen this before, but like
I will say it was hilarious watching, well, over 4 weeks, because all the trailers had that one guy with the double sided lightsaber, like at least 4 weeks of speculation of who this guy was, and then he's just
dust.
just dust, and that was hilarious. I am all for that.
Yeah. I'm fine. Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. My thing is they made posters for this person. I'm
Yes.
like, yo, they knew this was no one, and
It was
just like
some guy the Night
that's
Sisters created, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, but like I mean, I don't know. I do kind of like that because it kind of throws off speculation. It's like, oh nope, who cares? But
Mhm.
like, oh, that's always interesting.
Yeah. Um, what do you think about Thrawn as he was in the
I
show?
think Thrawn was. I think, and as a character, Thrawn's awesome.
Yes.
Like Thrawn and Rebels is like that. But
Yes.
here, I think he was still good. I really liked his like, I liked his energy. I liked his like he still had that cold, calculating. I also like that he was not dumb. Like I don't think so,
Oh
or at
yes.
least
Oh yes.
like it was like there were parts where I was kind of like, "What are you doing?" But like, I like that he actually won because I feel like I thought they were gonna make him lose the end, and I was gonna be like, he should not have lost
Mm-hmm.
this. Because like the part where they're like, "Oh, we're almost full of crap," I'm just like, "Bro, go, leave them, shoot them," and he's like,
Yeah.
"Shoot them." I'm like, "Thank you. That's what I
How did
was
you
saying.
miss?
That's what I'm saying. I was like, be evil. Shoot them. Don't play fair. No, we're evil. We don't do that. Like, no, I appreciate that he, in fact, did not do that.
Yeah,
Like,
and I really, really like. I know a lot of people didn't love Thrawn's design and demeanor, but I love that he was just some guy. He's just a dude who's really, really strategically oriented.
just
Like,
do his job.
show him a map, give him a battalion or two, and he wins. Like, not
Yeah.
every leader is a 7 foot tall jacked dude.
Yeah.
He's just a guy. That's fine.
He's just good at what he does. I don't
Yeah.
like it. And he does his homework. And I like how as soon as he was like, oh, that's Skyward's path. And like I like how he does the exact same thing. Because I remember, I forgot what episode it is, but there's a Clone Wars episode where there's that one general who's like, let me get Skywalker's file. And he's like, oh, this guy's crazy. He's like, all right. So then he does his homework. He's like, no, he's coming back. And then, of course, he comes back and he's like, yeah. And then like Thrawn does the same thing. He's like,
was it Trench?
no, it wasn't Trench. It wasn't Trench. That was a different one, but that was also a good point. Mm-hmm. But it was, I forgot. It was he was like one of the
the tactical droids.
No. What is the what's the race of freaking like Newt Gunray and all? He looked like one of them, but like kind of different. I forgot what race it is. I always forget. Is it Nemoidian? I don't. Is it?
Oh, there's some. Oh, Nemoidian.
Something like that. I don't remember.
Yeah, I know what you mean though. Yeah.
Yeah, but he was one of the. But he was like he's like a lighter color or whatever. But he looked just like him. But it was like but basically, it's the one where he throws the ship at them and then is in the escape pod. It's that one.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I think that's the Lothal blockade. I think I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
Not Lothal, but Ryloth blockade. I think it is.
Yeah.
I think that's
yes.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's that one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but it was. But I just like how he's like, oh, Skywalker, and then like Thrawn does the same thing where he's like, okay, he's like the Padawan of Skywalker, and we know Skywalker's like that. Yeah, he knows.
I love the moment where he's like, give me the information you have on him, on her, and he just looks at it for half a second. It's like, really, Skywalker?
Yeah, right. He's like, oh.
Skywalker.
Oh. Oh, crap. Like, it's like, all right. It's like, really? This guy couldn't have been any other Jedi? But no, it had to be the crazy one. Okay. That's fine. I'm not mad. But yeah, that whole thing's crazy. But like, my thing is, how much does Thrawn know about what happened? Because I mean, when they left, it's not like, anything that's happened now is they've been gone for like 20 years or something like that, right?
Morgan caught him up.
10? I guess, but I mean, how does Morgan? I guess because like detail wise, I mean, does he even know that like the whole Empire's gone and like Darth Vader specifically is dead and like the Emperor is specifically also dead, like as far as anyone knows, or is he just kind of like, well, if nobody's here to outrank me, I'll just do the Empire myself, like which is, I mean, it's fair, but. I don't know, but I think they did Thrawn really well. The fight scenes were really good. I also like that, like, I think they did a good job with Ezra because, like, he seemed very, like, still in character despite how much time had gone by. I thought they were going to do the thing where he's been stuck there and he's just a shell as a storm herself, and he's
like gone crazy, or he's like turned dark somehow. No,
which I mean, kind of like all things considered, would make sense, but still, because I mean, he was there for a long time. My thing is like, why didn't they kill him?
They tried. If you noticed, one person I saw on Twitter pointed out his like chainmail armor is actually made out of stormtrooper dog tags.
Oh my gosh!
So they've tried.
That's a fair point. I guess I didn't notice that. That's wild.
Yeah, and I think after a while, where Thrawn was just like, we need to stop spending resources on him. He'll stay over there. we'll
keep on ourselves. He'll keep dibs. I guess that's fair. Yeah, because I mean, he actually is a Jedi, so like, it's easier said than done to actually take him out.
Yeah, even without a lightsaber, he's still,
still very capable. Also, I thought to see where he just kind of like, nope, like no, I don't want that. Don't touch me with that. But the Force was pretty cool.
Yep.
I also thought it was hilarious how he's like, "Oh no, the Force is my ally." 2 seconds later, blaster shoots a guy in the face, and I'm just like, "All right, like
Okay.
again." In character, because bro does play dirty like all
Yes.
the time, and I'm here
I
for
mean,
it.
his
But
first
still,
lightsaber was a gun most of the time. So.
pretty much, yeah, which was hilarious.
Hmm.
But oh man, that was
Yeah,
funny.
like
But yeah, I think they did that well.
yeah. Overall, I enjoyed a lot of it, quite a bit. There was some that kind of annoyed me. Some characters that weren't as strong as I was hoping. Like I have overall positive views of it, but I wouldn't be surprised necessarily if I ran into somebody they didn't love it. Like that's kind of
Yeah,
where
I mean,
I like it, but like other people, I wouldn't. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if they weren't satisfied.
yeah, no, I mean, that definitely isn't like a universal hit, but I think there were moments, in my opinion, that there were more good than bad moments.
Mm.
And I kind of like to see, like, I like how they kind of left it open ended because it's like, the bad guys kind of won, and the good guys kind of got stranded. So
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
also we don't know what's gonna happen with like Balin and Shin are still there, so I don't know if they're
Mm-hmm.
just like chilling or
Balin was
like
chilling on top of the arm of a
of the,
statue of the father force
which was
guy.
pretty
Like,
dope,
okay,
but which
okay.
like I guess that kind of makes sense why he came there because this whole thing was about being something more, and it kind of makes sense because in the Mortis arc in Clone Wars that was a big thing. It's like, look,
Mm.
Jedi and Sith, like wait, he's like, look, that is so casual. Like this is serious. Like this
Yeah,
is about being the Force.
right.
So maybe that's kind of his whole thing, but I don't know. Like I feel like where they go from here is anyone's guess because I
Mm-hmm.
mean, as far as we can tell, there's no way to get back, right?
Yeah,
Unless Ezra gets them back. Also, Ezra just kind of escapes somehow,
yeah. They don't need
which
to show it, but I feel like they could have shown an escape pod leaving or something.
yeah, I mean, like again, it's one of those things where it's like I'm not saying he couldn't have because he's very capable, but it kind of seems like I don't know if I would have just made it was a foregone conclusion he just escaped
Mm-hmm.
and like wasn't tracked and like is
Yeah,
totally fine. Like I feel like that's a bit much, but
yeah.
also does he know how to get back there?
Probably. I mean, he could still call the space whales. I think, right?
I
He
guess,
did the
but
first time.
like yeah, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, hopefully there's a season two, or this isn't, or like we, figure out what happens at some point later. There's a lot of potential for, now now that essentially all of the rebels stuff is kind of behind us. There's a lot of potential for like, new story to be told. Like Thrawn can still be a factor, but like, you know, a new villain, a new, a new obstacle they need to overcome. That like if it's as strong as the new stuff that is in Ahsoka in season 2 or whatever, like I think it has potential to be very good. As of right now, the show is like I don't know 7.5 ish.
Yeah, give it
Right.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I wanted a little more out of it, but I wasn't overall disappointed by what we got.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
fair.
Yeah. Something that's much higher than a 7.5. That first episode of Loki, oh my goodness.
Bro, I like literally like there are not many things that I'm like we're watching. Like I was I was at my friend's place. We 901 Disney
Mm.
Plus was running it, man. Like I was like, nah, we gotta watch this because this show is like that. And something about like the like just like the intro thing again, the doo doo the light,
Love the
it
music. Oh,
just
so
brought you
good.
back, bro. I was like, we're home. Like
Mm-hmm.
and this show took no time to be like, yep, you're not going to know anything, but you're going to be so invested again.
Oh
Like, you
yeah.
think you know everything, and you're like, okay, I remember the twist. Nah, I am completely lost again, and I love it.
uh, I loved that sequence where they're talking to that one guy and Loki's in the past. And he's like, I don't know.
Mm,
Wait, yes I do.
wait,
It's
yes,
like
I don't have one of those. Wait, here it is. Like, but again, I guess that kind of makes sense time travel wise.
yeah.
Like, But then again, does that follow the Endgame time travel rules? But do we really care?
Time
No.
works differently in the TVA.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you can kind of just write around it anyway. I thought it was awesome how they did that. I thought the character was hilarious also.
Like how you kept bringing it up, your skin's gonna rip off.
Yes, like, yeah, you're saying it's gonna be painful. Yes, I get it. It'll be painful. No, it's just like, it's so funny. And like Loki just like casually mid conversation, just getting ripped across timelines is just like, oh, that's awful. Mm-hmm. I also love the part where he realized that he wasn't actually in the future. He was in the back, like the thing where he's like, what? And then, like, again, like, bro wasn't even in the episode, but the fear from Kang was real. Yes. Like, that was crazy. Like, they did a really good job with that. It's like, that all you got is he's got, like, there's no, like, he wasn't in it. There wasn't anything said. It was just understood, like, this cannot happen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it was. It is a little interesting how pretty much all of the marketing for this show was just from the first episode. Like, it was seemed like him doing that, like, time skipping was going to be like a major aspect of the show. It was kind of solved in the first episode, which is fine,
more or less.
But like,
got you hooked though.
Yeah. I mean, there still is a mystery of who sticked him. We didn't actually see who that was. We saw Sylvie for a second, then some other entity got him.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I obviously very, very invested to see what happens next. Like, it was easily one of my most anticipated things of this year. Yeah, I'm excited for more.
No, it looks great. I mean, all the characters were back; they're really good. Owen Wilson continues to be Owen Wilson. Like,
yep.
Yeah, it looks really good. I'm really excited. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's still a little weird to me that they started doing this like 9 o'clock on the day before thing.
Yeah.
But whatever. Especially since the other superhero thing I'm watching, The Boys presents Gen V, which I know you haven't seen anything from The Boys, but Gen V is very, very good so far. It also was dropping 9 o'clock on Thursday, so like, so I can't even do a thing because like last week we had Ahsoka on Wednesday and then Loki on Friday, but now we have the Boys and Loki on Friday. Like, but I can't have anything earlier in the week. I can't wait until Tuesday or whatever
basically
to watch this
the
other
weekend.
thing. Yeah. And then Invincible starting up before too long. That's also going to be Friday.
We are less than a month away from Invincible. You know how hyped that is?
That November 3rd specifically
it's huge.
Is actually, November 3rd is going to be the first episode of Invincible, a new episode of The Boys, Gen V, a new episode of Loki, and then I think, it happens again the next week, even bigger. On the 10th, we have the Marvels coming at the same day as well.
Right.
So, yeah, things are happening.
Just it's a big time, man. Like, yeah, it's just stuff. Like the year's been a good year. Just more stuff just keeps coming, and like I'm for it. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so good, dude. I don't know, man. Like, I love watching things. Like, I just love watching stuff, especially with my brother. It's just like that, and then like just Kaizen episodes come on Thursdays, and like, you know what I mean. It's just like there's just always more content. There's always something, and it does seem like Thursday is just the day for everything. But like, you know what? That's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, you don't have to watch everything day of, but stay off Twitter if you don't want to get spoiled.
Yes, and YouTube and just the internet in general, and don't go outside or talk to your friends who also watch those things because they will spoil them without realizing. Like, you just got to just be a hermit until you watch it, then you can go be free until the next week.
Until the next Thursday.
Right. Honestly, because like you got to avoid spoilers so hard. Sometimes you're like, no. Mm-hmm. It's like, hey, did you hear about that? No. But, so good though.
All right. Next up, so as of our recording, the actor strike is still going on, but apparently tomorrow, Wednesday the 11th, the SAG Guild and the studios, whatever their entity is, they're going to be having another negotiations meeting tomorrow, and it's rumored that that's going to be like, it potentially, or at least they're going to like try to hash it out all they can there. So it might end relatively soon, which will be good. But as soon as the actors strike ends, Disney says they're going to immediately start back up production on Deadpool 3, and they're still currently slating it for its May 2024 release.
Okay.
So
we can make it. We got this.
Yes. Hopefully there's no constraints there. Apparently they were really close to finishing filming, although I have a feeling after now the writer's strike is also done, they're going to want to go back and change some stuff, ad lib some stuff here and there.
Back in the lab for sure. But again, like, don't rush. Just make it good. You don't have to rush it.
Yes, please don't force them to keep that May release date. Like,
no.
Considering Captain America's been done since like June or something. Like, unless that needs major reshoots, which is maybe why they can't go ahead and switch that up. Because originally Captain America 4 was going to be May and Deadpool was going to be July, and then they got switched. So
you always switch them back, yeah.
I if they can, like, or
just move them both back. I mean, do what you got to do to make it good. Like,
yeah, I know why Disney really, really wants there to be a movie there in May. May is always their biggest month for. They always try to have something there in May, and I get that. But considering how people are already complaining about the quality of Marvel stuff in general, which I don't necessarily agree with fully, but I kind of understand, Deadpool is like the thing that's going to make or break the entire studio going forward, I fear. And if that feels rushed, if it feels bad, if it feels like it's an incomplete thing, it feels too Disney-fied, whatever, if there's any major issues with it, I think Marvel might be in a bad place at that point. So they're going to want to get it right.
I think they will too, because I mean, Deadpool, yes, it's going to be Marvel, more MCU this time, but like I feel like it's definitely still going to be the actual, like they're going to keep it up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, moving over to DC stuff. Apparently, before the actor strike happened, Jason Momoa was reportedly in talks to return as Lobo.
Do it.
Do it.
Yes. Do it. Next question.
Yep.
Please.
It's not confirmed. It's one of those stupid things I don't like, where this person was in talks to do this thing several months ago. We'll see if it happens, but this is going to happen. Like,
it needs to. I mean, he's already playing him in real life.
Right,
just put makeup on him.
This has been a thing that we've been saying since he was cast as Aquaman back in 2015 or whatever. It's like, he looks like Lobo. He should play Lobo.
He looks and acts like him, and he's already as big. Like, just do it. Like, you don't have to change anything.
Like, it won't be distracting. We never really saw him as Aquaman anyway, so just
no, we didn't.
just let him do it. Rumor is he might show up briefly in Superman Legacy, or he might show up in some other project or his own thing. So
I'd be down with that, like a Loki bounty hunter series.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And sticking with DC casting, James Gunn has confirmed that none of the core Justice League members are going to be reprising their roles as those characters in his DC universe. So no Gal Gadot Wonder Woman, even though there were rumors that she wasn't, that she maybe was and wasn't. No Ezra Miller, thank goodness. Never did I think that was a good idea. Like, they didn't look like the part. Like, get someone with orange hair, or with like blonde or something. Come on,
or like just anyone else. But
Like again, some people will lament no Henry Cavill as Superman, but we've known that for a while now.
Yeah.
Like obviously they're going a different direction with Batman and stuff. Like Ray Fisher only really got one movie as Cyborg, so if they get a new Cyborg, it's like
I mean, I still don't think Cyborg should be in the Justice League at all, to be
I
fair.
don't
So,
disagree.
because I mean,
Especially
I
if you're
don't.
already doing Mister Terrific as a major part of this universe, I feel he kind of fills that role.
Yeah, I'd agree.
He's already a technopath who's a super genius. You don't really need.
Yeah, it's
you
like
know.
you don't need. Yeah, it's kind of already fits the same thing. Plus, just like variety. Plus, Cyborg's kind of always been more of a Teen Titan anyway, at least to me. So,
Yeah. So yeah, it's uh, James Gunn has said that as soon as the actor strike ends, he's going to have a slew of new announcements for DC characters. I
okay.
assume Jimmy Olsen's going to be next. There's been a heavy rumor that one guy, I can never remember his name. There's one guy who's like in his early 20s who looks exactly like Jimmy Olsen. Like red hair, freckles, like he's like 5'6". He's like
Right.
perfect. Literally perfect.
The only height I know for Jimmy Olsen is not taller than Superman.
Right.
I don't know, but
that does kind of remind me in the that fantastic Crisis on Two Earths movie where Jimmy
oh
Olsen is
yeah,
the jack dude,
the giant
but
buff
he
Jimmy
still
Olsen
has
out
the
of
watch
nowhere.
that calls Ultraman.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, bro, he needs a watch for you. Like, he is jacked. And he can fly, right? He had like powers, I think, too. Yeah, it was crazy. Like he was crazy. I'm like, that's Jimmy Olsen.
Yeah.
That dude looks like freaking Lobo. Like what?
Right. So yeah, like I'm very very excited for what James Gunn is cooking. He's already confirmed that Viola Davis is going to be like a bigger player in DC stuff, which like Amanda Waller is that's just a good overarching character to have in multiple projects for various reasons.
Yeah.
So
amazing actress, perfectly fits the casting and does scary very well.
yeah. So that's exciting. I just hope the actor strike ends relatively soon with a good deal. There's also heavy rumors that as soon as it ends, we'll finally get official confirmation of who will play the Fantastic Four, because that's coming up soon. There's been a lot of just stupid rumors. I can't even keep track of it anymore. Like Adam Driver was a lock at one point, and then apparently that fell through or something. And now Vanessa Kirby, who has been in the Mission Impossible movies, like she's apparently going to play Sue Storm, and it's not confirmed either. It's just tell me. Just stop reporting stuff until it's known.
Like,
stop it.
Look, it's that whole thing where I'm just gonna say a bunch of things, and then whichever one's right, I said it first. Like, oh my gosh.
Rumor: Tobey Maguire reportedly in talks to return for Secret Invasion or Secret Wars. I'm like, I don't know, maybe.
It's like Tobey Maguire reads this. I am. Like, am I purser?
So yeah, that's. I'm just excited. Speaking of superheroes, you said you had something you want to talk about.
Okay, yeah, okay. So, what I am learning is that like non-nerds do not see superheroes the same way that like nerds do. First of all, people apparently don't like Batman, which is weird to me because I'm like,
but okay,
right. So I was hanging out with some of the guys on Monday, and I don't know how it came up, but it was just like, yeah, I don't like Batman. It's like, why is Batman? He's like, he's just a guy. And I'm like, well, he kind of is not just a guy. I mean, he is, but not really. They're like, he's just a guy to see. I'm like, well, he's also a genius and a master combatant, world's greatest detective, master strategist. You know, I list off all the things Batman can do. And like everyone's like shocked because they're like, I thought Batman was just some dude in the bed. I'm like, No, he's like he does things. Like he's not just like like he's
Uh-huh.
not like yes, yes, he is a rich human. Like obviously, like yes, being rich is one of his
Mm-hmm.
superpowers, but like that's not the only thing he does. He doesn't just throw money at people and they
Mm-hmm.
go away. But
It is such a human thing to have an opinion about something you know almost nothing about. Like you just like I almost guarantee all of them don't really have an opinion about Batman. They just heard someone else have that opinion,
well,
adopted that
it's
opinion, and then as a group was like, we don't like Batman because this guy had that
it's
opinion.
hard
Yeah.
because like you can tell they got a lot of their like knowledge from just the movies, and like a lot of the movies are kind of just like personal takes on Batman
Yeah.
versus like comics and other entities of like
Mm-hmm.
more explored lore, more actual details and like that. Because like like if the only thing you know about Batman is like the Dark Knight series movies,
But but
like
even then, almost no one saw Batman Begins relative to The Dark Knight. If you probably
yes,
only seen The Dark Knight, maybe Dark Knight Rises, Batman Begins, not as much not many people have seen that. Whereas that movie actually delved into more of his origin and how he learned
right, the
what he learned.
training, but
Yeah,
even then, his training wasn't even like as explored as it actually is in
yeah.
most
I
continuity. It was
kind of
like
wish there was
he's
more of that in that movie. Whatever.
well, because it's like in Batman Begins, like he's kind of just a ninja
Yes.
versus like that was just one stop on his many different stops of training. They didn't
Mm-hmm.
go into like escape artist master or like how he was good at like what I mean, like all the different things he's learned and all the
Mm-hmm.
sciences and criminology science, like all these things he's learned versus just like, oh no, it's just cool if he's in it. Like
Right.
yes, he is, but like that's just one of many
Mm-hmm.
hats, and I feel like that's kind of just I don't know. At some point, I'm like, do we just know too much about superheroes, or just not
Yes.
enough, or like which is like fair because I'm out here like what I mean. It's like when you basically study something for a living, and
uh,
then someone just kind of says something, you're just kind of like, wow, I have so many thoughts, but I also don't want to just
mm-hmm.
berate. Like it's not that deep, but
It
like for
is.
me, it is personally. But like I don't need to start this right now.
It
Like
is so funny just like hearing casual conversation someone bring up just like something random about Pokemon, and I'm like, I could literally list you the stats, move set, ability, egg group,
right? What
random
level they
trivia,
evolved
level if
at?
they evolved, like like
Like no, like, but like
you couldn't even get the name
seriously,
right, and I know all that.
it's so crazy because like there's something, and like I know for other things, I probably do the same thing for other people.
Oh yeah.
But it's so hard because it's like whether it's Star Wars or like superheroes or like like a video game specifically or like or like for me sometimes even like certain sports things like
Oh
it's
yeah.
just like random stuff where I'm just kind of like I want to just like throw an encyclopedia of knowledge
Mm,
at you, but like there's like I there's no reason to do that. I mean that's
right.
just
Like
let them enjoy it for how they
hmm
enjoy it. It's
like
whatever.
there are some people who legitimately is like, you don't know who won the Super Bowl in 1984 is like, no, why the
Do
heck
you
would I
not?
know that information? Why would I know that information? Who cares? Do you know?
1984 Super Bowl 23, I want to say. Wait, no. Is the 85 Bears or Super Bowl? It's Mount Marina. Probably. Hold on, I gotta know. Hold on. It's either the Niners or the Steelers, I think. Hold
I
on.
feel like Steelers is a good bet. No, I know they won like
Steelers
three
is
big ones
probably a
now.
good bet. Because it's hard because the Super Bowl is not the same year the season starts. 1984. Yeah, I was right. Super Bowl 23. That's
Mm,
no, that's not 23. That's I can't Roman numeral. That's 18.
mm.
Who won Super Bowl 18? Oh, it's the Raiders. Okay,
Ah,
look at me. I didn't know
a team I
anything.
didn't know existed. Okay.
Did you not? Hey, you don't
I
know the
don't know
Raiders?
football.
Come on, the Raiders. That's like one of the most popular. Okay, yeah, I guess not.
I don't
Yeah, I
know
didn't know that.
football.
Okay, man, look at me. I thought I knew football. I couldn't. Oh man, I'm kind of sad I didn't get that.
but
Nobody
you get my
knows.
point. Like
I do get,
like
yeah, but no, you're right. But it's hard because like when you study something like that, like when
mm,
that's your thing, it's so hard not to like like have everyone have that expectation of like you because when you think about it, it's like, all right, I have put my entire life into superheroes
mm,
pretty much since I've been watching. Like the first, one of the first things I ever watched was like Batman the Animated Series on VCR
mm.
back in the day. So it's like I've been doing this for at least 20 years. So like it's unfair for me to say like how dare you have this wrong opinion about, so like you
Right.
maybe have seen like three Batman things.
Yeah, because like the Tim Burton Batmans don't delve into his detective side at all. He's
Not
not even like the
really.
best fighter either, just because the suit kind of didn't let him do it.
Yeah, the
Um,
suit and the yeah, and like also it's like it feels like certain like like certain things based on it's like the gadgets are kind of carrying him, which like I guess you could argue in some aspects depending on who he's fighting, but like
mm-hmm.
I feel like no real series of Batman movies even now kind of gets Batman to the fullest. Like there's
Yes.
either like the Matt Reeves the Batman gets into the whole like stealth creature of the night thing, but doesn't really go into like the detective stuff because like to be honest, he wasn't really a good detective in that movie. He kind of just
No.
like
He
what I
figured
mean.
it
He kind of
out after.
like I
Although I
mean,
did
but
hear
like
one great analysis where essentially the tool that was used to kill the first like the mayor, like the guy who was running for
mm,
mayor, it's such a common tool for just like the average person. It's like it's something you use to scoop up a rug. Like like Bruce Wayne would not know what that is. He would have no reason to think it's anything other than a murder weapon because he's so rich. He's not even a part of that life. And only once it's like a commoner points it out to him is he able to be like, oh, I could use that for that. Like that's a cool aspect. Essentially, like any time he failed, it's because he is out of touch with the community he's in. So that's one way to look at it.
that is a good point. Yeah, I mean that makes sense too because like yeah, it's like he had the perspective of Bruce Wayne, so like it's not something he would have thought is important to study.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with criminals or science or anything. It's just a random tool, and
Mm-hmm.
he's a rich kid. He doesn't do blue collar anything. He doesn't know what that is. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense.
Yeah, and I
Interesting.
think a good litmus test for if someone doesn't understand comics is if they just have the blanket opinion that Superman is boring.
Yes.
No.
Yes. That's one of my least favorite like things ever because like Superman is it just bothers me because it's just kind of like why do you just think he's boring because he's powerful? Because like all superheroes are kind of like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Superman's probably the most powerful, but it's like that's a bad reason to think he's boring
Right?
because
Like,
I feel like you haven't seen a good Superman story
that
because I mean
like like that is kind of proof that this person either hasn't watched a lot of Superman media or they definitely haven't read the comics because there's like a lot of very inspiring and just cool comic panels of Superman like helping individual people or literally carrying the weight of the world, you know, to just like the most my current personal favorite comic panel is him, Atlas, asking if he could carry the
mm-hmm.
weight of the world for him so he can go watch his daughter get married, and like he agrees, and as he's doing that, literally again, there's something you can only do in comics. Like he's holding it, and it like cuts to him picturing all the different people in his life, all the different people in the world, and like he's at the bottom of the page, like holding it all. It's just such a good image of like it's my responsibility to hold all this. But even though
Mm-hmm.
all of these people count on me, it's still good that I'm helping this one person. Like that's just so good. And then he came
It's
back.
so
Just yeah.
Superman.
Oh. You can't do that really in live action. It's a little or even
Yeah, you can
animated really,
yeah
but
It's a really good way. Yeah, I really love when they draw the page like the imagery is in the page almost. It's kind of
Mm-hmm.
like the way the page entirely is drawn depicts the
Oh
whole
yeah,
scenery. It's just
yeah. There's one
awesome.
really cool Moon Knight panel of him like running around like dodging around this one guy, and like what he is saying essentially could be an infinite loop. Like the text bubbles just like for an infinite loop. Oh, it's so cool. Anyway, um, but yeah, like
There's
yeah.
one of these. There's a Superman cover I saw. I think it's a 2016, but it's like there's this cover of it's just a silhouette flying like waving down, and it's all these different people like up smiling waving at
Mm.
Superman. So like you don't actually see Superman, but you can just tell what it is just based on it's so cool looking. Like
Oh
it's one of
yes,
my favorites.
yes. This fantastic panel. The book itself isn't great, but this is this like new origins of Superman or something. That's what it's called. Um, Clark first gets to town and he's like looking up at amazed at all the the tall buildings, and it's a spectacle of Metropolis. He like bumps into this lady, and she's like, "Well, that's where you're going." He's like, "I'm sorry, I was just looking up at all the greatness this the town has," and she's like, when you live here long enough, you don't really have a reason to look up anymore. And then at the end of the book, after he becomes Superman, he bumps into that lady again when she's looking up. This like, what are you looking at? Oh, I'm just seeing Superman's up there. It's like, oh, that's so good.
I don't know why. That is great. That that would be amazing to put in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how it starts, and that's how like that would. I
Ah,
know that's kind of corny. I know
it
that's
is, but
kind
it's
of
great.
corny, but like
Superman's
that's the
allowed to be
kind of.
corny. It's fine.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That's why like corny works for Superman because like it's just like Superman, what Superman deals with, and what he provides. Like hope should be corny.
Yes.
Like real genuine hope should be corny because it's real. It's like yeah, it's corny, but like we're just glad it's here. It's really here.
Mm-hmm.
That is good. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
it's, that's that's one of those things where you're just like, yeah, that's Superman.
Yeah, like literally inspires people who haven't like appreciated the city they live in for years, like actually, you know,
Yeah,
looking up and inspiring hope. It's
there's
great.
something to believe in again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, kind of on the flip side of this conversation, I feel like there is a point where you care too much about comics, where
Oh no.
any little tiny infinitesimal thing that the movie or show whatever gets wrong, you say it is a bad product because it got that thing that you don't agree with wrong. And that is just a totally incorrect way to view any media.
Yes.
First of
I
all,
mean,
it's an adaptation, so they're allowed to take the liberties.
it's hard because like it depends on what they do and to what extent. Because like if it's a small nitpick or not the way you would have done it, that's one thing. But
Mm.
if it's like unrecognizable to the source material, then you can kind of be like, okay, that's kind of wrong. But like,
I had to block this person on Twitter because Twitter's been doing this weird thing lately where people that you like don't follow and don't care to hear their opinion, they just keep propping up on your feed, even though no one that you follows them. So I don't know why they're here, but whatever. This
yeah,
person, like every single chance they get, they talk about the fact that if they were writing a Superman story, they would have Ma and Pa Kent both be dead,
whoa,
so Superman feels lost. Like feel both you know, his like both of his found family and his real family are both gone. So he's just a citizen of the world. But like that's not that I don't know. I'm okay with Pa being dead,
yes.
but both Ma and Pa, that's a bit
No,
extreme.
that doesn't work. That doesn't work for me because For a couple reasons, actually. One, I think it kind of ruins the like imagery with Batman and Superman because they're
Yes.
supposed to be like opposites, and if they both don't have parents, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
really work. It kind of works that he's the alien that's the human, and he's the human that's the alien kind of thing, and
Mm-hmm.
like the him having parents and him not adds to that. And
Yeah.
also, I think too, like I always like I think he needs to have her there because A gives him a reason to go back to Smallville, which I think
Yes.
is important for
Yes.
his roots, and B also just kind of like I don't think that's necessary. I feel like
Yeah.
him losing one parent is fun, gives the same effect that losing
Mm-hmm.
two would.
And if his parents are dead, you can't have a scene like in Justice League where he invites Martian Manhunter over for Christmas. That's such a good scene. That's a good episode.
So wholesome, bro.
Yeah.
Like so wholesome.
But this person on Twitter legitimately does not like the Superman the animated series or My Adventure with Superman because Pa Kent is alive. I'm like,
Wait,
oh,
that's the only reason you don't like it?
like there are other nitpicks. Again, this person's very loud, very annoying on Twitter. But this like there are other nitpicks they have, but that's like the thing they keep bringing up about it. I'm like, it doesn't take away from the show at all.
At all. He's only in like two
Yeah,
episodes.
what do you?
Like in My Adventure Superman, he's barely in it.
Yeah,
And I
like
mean,
like it's
every
not the
scene.
best adaptation because it doesn't fit my exact worldview. How
I
I would write
loved
the
his
script. Stop
adaptation,
it.
honestly. I thought
Yeah.
it was great. And you can't be like in the animated series, it ain't good. Because any
Right.
Ma and Pa scene in that show is goaded. So
Yes,
like
I
chill
love
out.
this
Like
where it was like oh you're telling me that oh Clark Kent died oh
the
that's
same episode. Oh,
yeah
you're telling me your son died. You understand that? Yeah, yeah. They just sitting on the couch.
yeah
He's sitting in the chair. He's just like it's so funny because he looks upset, like he
uh,
got in trouble at school. Literally, his car blew up, and he's just kind of like, nah, I'm gonna kick that guy. Like you look like just like, but like it's so normal. It makes so
uh,
much sense.
yeah like you can't really have scenes like that if they're dead so
Yeah.
and I mean that's with every superhero. There's still a contingent of Batman fans who don't like the ending of the Batman because they don't like that he's now a symbol of hope for Gotham when you literally miss the point of the movie how he started off as the symbol of vengeance and whatever darkness and now he's seeing like literally a brighter side of Gotham. It's like you
Also, Batman's
ah,
supposed to be hope. That's his whole thing. He just doesn't do it the same way. But that's kind
correct.
of the point of Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But you know,
No, but
Batman's not. I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Batman's about punching people too, but it's not
yes,
just punching people just to punch people.
like these people, I as much as you might hate what I'm about to say, but as good as the Arkham games are, I kind of feel like they have skewed the perception of what
Yeah.
people feel like Batman is. It's like, oh, the scene from Batman v Superman where he beat up all those guys in the warehouse, that is directly out of the Arkham games, therefore it is good. But like that's not all what Batman is.
No,
Just
and
because,
that's the thing. It's like the story in the Arkham games is like regular Batman.
yeah,
But yeah, when you have to beat the crap out of mobs of faceless goons, which is also very Batman, but it's not just about the goon beating
yeah,
up. It's about, I mean, he's got scenes where I mean, for example, at the end of Arkham City,
mm,
spoilers for anyone who hasn't played a 10-year-old game, but
yeah.
but Arkham, have you played the Arkham games
I
at all?
played half of two of them.
Fair enough. But anyway, for anyone who doesn't know, at the end of Arkham City, the Joker dies.
Yeah.
But basically, what happens is, Batman literally has the cure for this disease that he's also dying from, by the way. And the Joker basically, like, attacks him with the cure in his hand and he drops it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is literally after the Joker's killed a bunch of people, including Talia, right in front of
Oh
Batman.
yeah, right.
And Batman was still gonna save him. Like Batman, and again, I know that's
Mm-hmm.
partially Batman's crazy, but Batman is about saving people. Like he's trying to
Mm-hmm.
bring hope that even he can bring the darkest people back. That's why he does. Like that's the real reason he doesn't kill his villains, even though they're most would argue they're irredeemable, but
Yeah.
that's the reason he doesn't actually kill them, because he's like, no, I believe in change, I believe in hope, and I believe, everyone can be Plastic Man. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh
Everyone
yes.
can turn to a leaf, even though that's really not really gonna happen. Like, I don't think Ra's al Ghul is gonna be like, you know what, Bruce, maybe you're onto
I
something.
don't think Victor
But
Zsasz is gonna turn a new leaf anytime soon.
no, there's no version of that ever happening. But Batman doesn't allow himself to think that way, because then he's just gonna pop everybody's neck, which would
Yeah.
also be terrifying.
Yes.
But like, yeah, I mean, Batman is about hope, but he's just about it in a different way. And especially in the animated series, I like that a lot of the times he would try to help people as Bruce Wayne also.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Like, he would get, you know what I mean? Like, they're like, I remember the thing with the ventriloquists after they got rid of the dummy. Wayne Enterprises gave he got a job, he got a real, you know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
there's real stuff that, like, he's trying to actually help people. It's not just about beating up criminals for fun or for whatever. It's
Mm-hmm.
serious stuff, but people get lost in that because context is all often lost in things, and people just remember beating up villains, and which is also part of it, but like, it's
Yeah.
not the reason why. But anyway,
Yeah. Like there are definitely extreme sides of this where like you either care too much and nitpick every little thing, or you have
mm-hmm.
no opinion. You know almost nothing yet still try to form a baseline opinion. And like I don't know. Again, those are both very human reactions, I guess. But like, don't try to argue with someone who is in the middle where they know a lot and actually understand what's going on.
Well, yeah, and it's hard too, because you kind of like, I've noticed when you kind of like out knowledge people about a topic, you can't really defend your opinion unless it's something they also know, because
Mm,
you know to what's factual to you and to others might be conjecture to someone else who doesn't
mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, if someone was arguing with me about rocket science, you know, even if they wrote it out, it's not like I'm just gonna be like, oh, I see why I was wrong. I don't,
Yeah.
I don't know what that says. Like, I don't.
Uh,
So yeah, but also at the end of the day, it's not that deep. I mean, that's the biggest
yeah.
thing.
Yeah. That
It is
that.
all comic books, fictional characters, entertainment. Like, it's
Yeah.
not that serious.
Essentially, just know when to fight your battles. If we're
Yes.
never gonna see those people again, don't bother. Or but like if
No,
it's
I
someone
just
who
like,
like you actively want to have conversation with them, then don't like don't just like nerd out on them, but like educate them where you can.
yeah, just educate me. And honestly, just like, my biggest thing is like, just talk about other stuff.
Yeah.
Because like, generally, if it's not their thing, it's like, yeah, I mean, we don't have to dwell on something that you're not super versed in, just because it's all in good fun, but it's also just kind of like, the nerd in you is like, oh, well, let's calm down. We don't have
Mm,
to.
yeah. Um, I think that's
Say
all I
what
have
we
to
got.
say about that. Anything else you want to say about whatever we talked about
Now
today?
that was my rant for the day. I'm good.
All right. So with that, we will see you all next time.
Take care, everybody.